Welcome to UNCAGED, a show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we are speaking with JM Ryerson. Hi, JM. How are you?
Brother, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Bant. I appreciate being here.
It's great to have you on the show. JM is the co-founder and CEO of Let's Go Win. I'll let him tell you a lot more about what he's actually working on. He's also a published author of several books, and we'll talk a little bit about what's the content of those books. But JM is a leader in terms of mindset coaching, leadership development, executive coaching, life coaching. He's going to coach us on how to live and work better. So, Jam, with that setup, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
Yeah, man, I've been blessed to be a part of now 4 companies. I was originally in the financial services field, and then I wrote a book, and it was meant for my kids. That's how Let's Go Win ever started. But it was all about taking lessons from my mentors, my parents, my grandparents, authors that I've read, and condense it so hopefully my kids didn't skin their knees as much. And the gal I was working with said, "I didn't think you're a selfish person." I said, "I didn't think I was selfish either." She goes, "If you only share this with 2 human beings, you're selfish." Okay, point taken. Let's publish it. And it just kind of launched us on this path. And Bant, I love it. It fills my bucket, I think, far more than I fill anyone else's. I get so much from working with people on their mindset, on them leading their best lives. So our goal is to inspire people to live their best lives. That's why we exist today. And it's a goal I know we can never fully accomplish. And that excites me because that gets me going every single day to do my best to do that.
That's great. I mean, I think we all strive for that, especially, I would say, coming off of a year where we were certainly not living our best lives. But tell me more about how you guys do what you do and some of the work that Let's Go Win is focused on right now.
Well, traditionally, I'm on stages and we're talking to people. However, the stages have changed. I guess this would be a form of a stage. So we are talking to folks. But it's shifted. And so now it's the podcast platform. Writing is something that I didn't know I really loved, but it's something that whether it's a blog weekly or it's doing the books, I found a lot of joy. And here's why. When I give this to someone and they say, this really spoke to me, that's awesome because I wanted somebody to speak to me at certain points in my life. And that's why books have been so impactful for me. So right now it's really the podcast, it's the blogs. I do have an online course that's going to be launched, but it's a lot of coaching and it's just been different, right? Zoom has become our best friend, good, bad, or indifferent. And as much as I want to give people a hug in person, right now it's that virtual hug.
So JM, when you're working on a project and coaching an executive, are those engagements one-on-one? Are you working via an enterprise? How does that function?
It's a great question. It's both. I do one-on-one coaching for sure. I love working with teams. So, and like I'm working with a pro golfer right now, and you would think, okay, that's an individual sport. He absolutely has a team around him. He has a nutritionist. He has a swing coach. He's got his trainer. He has me.
I think I wish Tiger Woods had a driver, basically, based on.
Oh man, I will let that one go. But yeah, so you have a team, right? That works together, and it's providing some clarity and so direction. So that team is moving in the proper direction, so that he, in this case, can perform to the very, very best. So I do both, but I do really I love working with teams. There's something about the team dynamic. When you can get a group of people rowing in the same direction, it's amazing what can be accomplished.
So, with the, I would say that this whole space of coaching, I've seen it. I would say I started to see it about 15 years ago. Little by little, there were a couple of executives that were doing coaching, and then maybe about 5 years ago, it seemed to kind of jump forward. And now we seem to be living in this moment where coaching is getting adopted by enterprises literally around the world. What is it that these companies are seeing now, and why is it so important for businesses today?
Well, I think it's always been important. Everyone needs a coach. So let's take Michael Jordan, for instance. He always had a coach his entire career. Name the great Mike Trout, one of the best baseball players. He has a swing coach. Why? Because when we look in the mirror, we don't necessarily have the best reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what's happened, I don't know why the explosion, but I think people realize like, I can really expand my business. I can get better personally. So it all starts with you, right? We need to personally develop ourselves so that we can help develop other people. But it does start with developing ourselves first. And I think executives finally said, if I can have somebody call me on my stuff or keep me accountable or make my life that much more simple, how much more effective can I be for my company, for my family? And so I'm not sure why the explosion, but I'm really happy to see it out there. And the one thing I would say to the audience, don't work with anyone that doesn't have a coach themselves. That is 100%. If they don't have a coach, I wouldn't work with them. I have many coaches that I look up to that I feed off of because I want them to give me feedback as well.
That's really good advice. I definitely have seen the importance and power of coaching impact many of the businesses that I've been part of, and in fact, the company that I was part of before launching Canary gave basically every EVP a coach. You had to work with a coach, and it was a really interesting experience. And I do think that it's now really becoming part of the culture of many enterprises, which is, I think, fascinating. And certainly, I think you're in the right place at the right time, JM, and you're filling a very, very needed gap for folks. But let's kind of change gears, because I would imagine that people probably needed you more than ever before over the last year. It's been a bumpy one for many folks. I mean, what have been your experiences over this last year, and where have you found kind of glimmers of hope and joy in what you do?
Well, it starts with choices. And yes, it's been a challenging year. And what I mean by choices, what happens so much to so many of us is that we'd wake up and the first thing we'd do is we turn on the news, we'd grab our phone. And I promise you, there's negativity surrounding us. You don't have to look, it'll go ahead and it'll be right there. And so what I really talk to a lot of the people I'm coaching, who's running your agenda right now? Is it CNN? Is it CNBC? Is it Fox? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? I really don't care, but is it them running your agenda or are you running your agenda? And that doesn't mean put your head in the sand and be, not be aware of the world. That means make sure you're intentional about who's running your agenda. So waking up in the morning and following your routine, feeding your mind, your body, and your soul so that by the time you do get to work or with your family, you are in the best possible position to show up as your best self. So that has been, I guess, the biggest challenge. But here's the beautiful thing. I just simplify it for people. I try my best to just make everything that much more simple because we have a busy enough world. Let's simplify your daily routine, your morning routine, so that you can show up as your very best version of yourself. And then as you want to bring news or social media or whatever into your world, that's cool. But let's make sure we're starting off the right way.
That's really interesting. What do you think are the big barriers for people when they start to get coached? When you are there kind of some big themes? Maybe people may make things too complex. Kind of your referral to your reference right now to making things a little bit more simple. I mean, what are the things that you sometimes come across where you're just like, we can weed that one out. We can fix,
Well, it's a 3-letter word and it's called ego. That's where you start. And literally, are you open to real feedback? People will say, hey, critique me, give me that criticism. But are you really giving me permission? And so we start with that. What do we want? What is our outcome? I am not in the hourly game. I am in the outcome game. I really want to help people achieve their goal. But that's going to mean, hey, we're going to put our ego aside. We are going to step in You're giving me permission to hold you accountable, to call you on your stuff. And so once you do that, and if somebody really gives you permission, now it's not unsolicited advice. This is actually what you're looking for because you see the outcome. So that's always where I start with every one of my clients is, let's be clear. Are we on the same page? And some of the things I'm going to say, I'm not your friend in this moment. Sometimes
Right.
I want you to like me, but that's immaterial to the outcome. So that's where I start with everybody, Bant, is, are you giving me permission? Yes or no? And then we go from there.
That can, I imagine, be one of those topics where people initially go, "Oh yeah, absolutely, JM," and then after the first 5 minutes, they're like, "Wow, whoa, what did I just agree to?"
It is an interesting dance, right? Because again, we all say we want that feedback, but it sometimes is hard to hear, I'm not performing at my best, or I could
Right.
do this to change it up. But if you want the result, so it is an interesting dance, I guess.
Yeah, no, but I do think that when I think about millennials and really Gen Y, they are so almost geared towards this. They understand this, and it seems to be something that they want. And so that really bodes well for the near-term future and the longer-term future. But as you're thinking forward with your business and your plans, JM, what does the future look like for you guys?
Wow, that's a great question. It's so promising, and I said it before. I feel like I get filled my bucket even more than my clients, and hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they feel the same. But every single day that I get to work with somebody and they achieve their goals, it literally fills my bucket. It's overflowing. So I was having this conversation with my best friend in the kitchen before this, actually, because I didn't expect that writing was something that was going to fill my bucket. I didn't know that growing up. And so every time that I write something and somebody says, "Wow, that really spoke to," it does something. I can't explain it other than I love what I do every single day. So the future's very bright. The world will open back up and I will be able to give Bant a big hug. Not, I'm going to give him a bear hug. And I can't wait for that day. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep using these platforms, going to, podcasts or whatever the platform, to hopefully get this message out, because I want everybody to live their best life. That is the goal.
Well, let's end this on talk a little bit about that passion. So you've been writing quite a bit. Certainly, Let's Go Win. I know that there's I think a new memoir or new kind of set of principles. If you can explain a little bit about the latest book.
Yeah. So Champions Daily Playbook is the most recent. And I would be remiss if I said it's a book, because it's about, I think, 11 or 12 pages. So it's really one chapter. And the reason I did that, Bant, is if I give you a book, the studies show it's not likely that you're going to read the entirety of the book. So if I give you Let's Go Win, it's 170 pages, 169 pages. The likelihood of you reading all those words are not great. However, I have a much greater chance of you reading the first 11 pages and then using the playbook, as I call it. And I called it a playbook for a reason. I didn't want it to feel like work. I want it to feel like play. This is something that is helping me perform every single day. So I do a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening. And by the end of the 90 days, I've created habits that perhaps are supporting my goal. So I am excited about this one. It was far less work, I will say, but I'm seeing so many people say, "Thank you. This is really shaping my thinking. It's helping me in my mornings and my days." So I'm very excited about what it's done thus far.
Yeah, I really like the idea of a playbook, and it seems to be very much on brand with the idea of Let's Go Win, but also the idea of having a playbook in general for facing the day-to-day challenges of business and life is incredibly valuable. JM, thanks so much for being on Uncaged today. It's been great to talk to you. If people wanted to reach out and find out more about what you're working on, where would they find you?
Yeah, they can go to Let's Go Win 365 on any of the social media platforms, or just letsgowin.com. You can reach us there, and info at letsgowin.com.
That's great. We've been talking today with JM Ryerson. JM Ryerson is the co-founder and CEO of Let's Go Win. He is a mindset coach. He's an author, and definitely a guy that you should talk if you want to kind of get your professional game to the next level. Thank you so much for being on UNCAGED today, JM. UNCAGED is a show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. It's been great talking, JM, and I look forward to talking again soon.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Cheers.